you had Saudi Arabia's leadership saying, well, I can't believe America did this. Well, you should have known better. And I hope the rest of the world sees now that when members of the United States government point to Iran and say, this is the axis of evil, Iran and China and Russia, the BRICS nations, which of course, first and foremost is an economic alliance, but I think that we would be naive to not, recognize that there's a serious military component to this, of course. He looked right at them and said, you know what, we're coming. We're coming because Israel said so. How many different times have they said that we went to Iran because Israel was going to strike or because we needed to protect Israel? This has always been Israel's war. And Fox News today was saying that we could declare victory. We can declare victory over Iran, and that what this has also done is exposed our fake allies in England. Like, what are these people talking about? And then you have boomers like my dad who will say, let's go put a boot in their ass. That's the American way. They will cheer on these wars because they are selfish, because they are not sending their own kids. Barron is of legal fighting age. Why isn't Barron Trump going to Iran?
Heck, why isn't Kai going to Iran? She wants to make TikTok videos in front of aircraft carriers. Why the hell isn't she conscripted to go out there and fight and put her life on the line?
I think they're going to reinstitute the draft, and I think that it's really going to hit the fan here when they try to do that. I don't know where they're going to get all this blood from, because I happen to think that the Zoomers aren't buying this.
No, I don't think so either. And I think
I don't think that there's any way that they're going to be able to, get willing bodies, at least in a sustainable number, that will be able to do anything effective in Iran. And we all know that if you really want regime change, you can't do it from the air. Now, there's unconfirmed reports that 100,000 ground troops are on their way.
Oh, I'm sure
they've been able to confirm that, but I think it would take probably 500,000 at minimum, 500,000 to do this. We would lose a whole lot of them, and I don't know why we're doing it. Can anybody tell us why? Why are we there? What are we doing?
I'll tell you one of the reasons why this is happening, and I think we both know that there is really something to be said for how much, as we alluded to a little while ago, you and I both have suffered economically because we chose to be principled. Now, not everybody is willing to do that. And in fact, a lot of people are not willing to do that. But one person who I think sits in a very safe position, as far as I can see, is somebody like Candace, who can put out a statement like this: do not join or remain in the United States military. Trump has betrayed America and expects you to die for Israel. There is no honor in being led by dishonorable men to your death.
Yeah.
I also want to allude to the fact that she put out a message the other day with somebody with a platform as large as hers finally saying that, yeah, Netanyahu very likely had as much of a hand in 9/11 as anybody. When you look at all of the cards on the table from a number of different, seminal moments in our lives that have happened recently, with Charlie's assassination, and you brought up Tyler Boyer. Tyler Boyer, who was the CFO and was fired a week before the assassination, and then immediately is rehired after Charlie's killed. Yeah, there's no smoke there. There's nothing to look at. Just like there's nothing to look at when it comes to Larry Silverstein or Howard Lutnick. No smoke there, nothing to look at.
Larry Silverstein buys asbestos-riddled towers in New York, and then they come down and he's on video saying, pull it. He's on video saying we made the decision to just pull it.
Weeks before.
Paul Singer, the same exact thing. Ronald Lauder, the same exact thing with the Greenlandic Water Company that he acquired. So if you want to know why we're talking about Greenland, look no further than Ronald Lauder, the Jewish billionaire, who I believe he actually funded the Trump dossier, the Steele dossier.
Yeah, well,
and he's the president of the World Jewish Congress, and he acquired this Greenlandic. He's a vulture capitalist, just like Paul Singer. And what I'm looking at here is the tech native America that will be ruled from Israel. That's what this is, where, whites and, thoroughbred original stock Americans become absolutely the minority. I don't even know if we'll speak English anymore. It is an economic zone that has been used up. The host has no more lifeblood in it. There's no reason to stay here anymore. So we're going to flee here. And this is the safe haven for people who like to do what we do on these tapes that, Epstein has and that Israel's have, that they're holding in bunkers, just waiting for the mutual self-destruction that has been agreed upon here.
I couldn't agree more. And the thing that I also find very, I wouldn't even say interesting. It's kind of predictable at this point. But, when Candace comes out and makes her statement, and we all know that the two most influential voices in conservative politics are Candace and Tucker. And when a statement is made and they have to kind of rein it in, well, the Hasbro Brigade, and we're talking about all of them. I mean, you could be talking about Gunther Riegelman, you could be talking about Eric Doherty, you could be talking about Nick Sorter, and I could go on and on down the list. And then, of course, the people who don't even have the cojones to show their faces or use their real
Jack
names.
Posobiec, Alex Jones, the Binder Gate crew, everybody that you saw on the, on the front lawn of the White House holding their Epstein binders.
Honest to God, if you get this wrong, like if you are not right on this issue, it's not even a question of I wouldn't trust you. It's you need to be looked into.
Yeah.
And what are you doing?
I feel the same way about the Charlie Kirk deal. I mean, it very obviously was not Tyler Robinson with a 30-06. I mean, everybody.
And yet you've got Shapiro out there saying it every fucking day, every time he's live, same thing.
We all know that the person who shot Charlie Kirk is Tyler Robinson. And why are we still talking about it?
He's not the only one. I mean, you have people like Nick Fuentes saying that.
Yeah.
They got the right guy. He was on with, he was doing his tour with all these, big name platforms or whatever. And I don't remember who it was that asked him straight up, do you think Tyler Robinson got Charlie Kirk? And he says, yeah, I think they got the right guy. Or, do you think Israel did it? And he's like, no, I think they got the right guy. How anybody can pretend that Tyler Robinson was the shooter, this lone wolf. And to your military point, or to Candace's military point here, do you know that military command staff is telling their soldiers, telling their sailors, telling their Marines, telling their airmen that they are on a God-ordained mission to usher in Armageddon, and that Trump has been divinely chosen by God to lead this crusade? So these people are fanatical. These people are psychopaths. And they are telling their soldiers, they're telling enlisted military men that that's what they're doing. And now also I have heard, and this is from a very reliable source, who has first-person dealings with this situation, where his cousin or his nephews are both in the military. One of them was told that they were going to training, and they are now in some sort of a pool, some sort of I guess temporary staging area, or I guess I would call it a holding facility, to be deployed to Iran. So they're tricking service members into coming in for training and then sending them to Iran to go die for Israel. This is the level of the people that we're dealing with here. And when Pete Hegseth sat down on 60 Minutes, I'm sure that you've seen or maybe even aired that clip, where he said the only people who should be concerned right now are Iranians who want to live.
Yeah,
why don't you believe them when they tell you this? And you're right. If you're not right on this issue, if you're not right on Charlie Kirk, and these people are throwing shade at Tucker. Well, he's CIA. Well, he's controlled opposition, or he's funded by the Qataris, or he's funded by Israel. This is the guy that didn't have to go sit down with the ambassador. He didn't have to go sit down with Mike Huckabee and completely destroy him, totally wreck him. Huckabee said, I can't compute what you're saying. System glitch, fatal error, total shutdown, must update system. He didn't even know what to say. Tucker didn't have to do any of that. He was detained by these people. He didn't have to do any of that. A guy like Tucker has nothing to gain. There is no upside for doing that. And he's on a huge platform. And of course, now he's catching all of the arrows. Candace Owens does not have to be doing what she's doing with Erica Kirk and looking into the people that she's looking into, or tweeting like she just did about defecting from the military. And, these people that are aboard these ships in these carrier strike groups, they are on floating prisons. It's not like they can just jump off and leave.
They're on floating.
I guess the only answer is, a mutiny, and put these commanders and the people who are, forcing the situation into the brig on board, and just, wait for help or something. But for the American service members to be following orders that include guiding precision-guided missiles into schools and blowing up 200 schoolgirls, and then waiting for the surviving, children that were blown limb from limb to crawl themselves into a prayer hall and await their parents, and Red Crescent, humanitarian aid people and medics to arrive and then to just blow them all the fuck up. These are the tactics that these people are using, and it's 100% projection when our leaders point to Iran and say that this is the axis of evil or the number one state sponsor of terror. No, no, no. The United States, the occupied United States government and its military arm are the axis of evil, and they are the number one state sponsor of terror.